month, you got to qualify. And if you're a district leader already, re-qualify. 3 by 3,000, one licensed person on your team. Guys, 3 by 3,000 is nothing. You know, it's funny. I was setting, you know, and I'm thinking back about what Colleen has accomplished so far. And I'm looking back, and you know what I said to her? And I just did it. I said to her, we need to get you 10 by 10 this month. I just threw it out there. Brand new. She knows nothing of nothing. Brand new. I simply set that expectation. She'll hit 10 sales this month. She'll recruit 4 directs this month. First month in. And she has no clue what's happening. I promise you. I love her to death. She has no clue what's happening. You got to set the expectation for yourself first. And I promise you, fun starts at 50% contract. Rep and senior rep is cool. Nothing wrong with that. You're still a baby, right? We're still changing your diapers because you don't know what the hell you're doing yet. Right? Fun starts at district leader, 50% contract. And in the meantime, while you are in training, that 3 by 3, $1,000 that you banked while in training. So go out and do that. Right? Go over with your trainer how many qualified appointments, business overviews, or meets you did, right? This is kind of the you got to look. You got to have an autopsy. At the end of the month, look at what you did. This is the one area I don't think most people do, right? They want to have change, but they don't know what they have to change. So you got to understand the numbers and write them down and follow them. How many appointments did I do? How many did I go on? How many did I close? Why didn't I close? Right? If you look at 20 appointments, I did 3 of them and closed 2. The problem is not closing. It's the setting it up. How did you set it up? Is it a qualified market? But if you have 20 appointments that you scheduled, you went on 10 but only closed 1, then the problem is what? Your approach, your presentation, what you're saying. Or is it a qualified appointment? Right? That's what the numbers tell you. They give you the story. That's why it's important for you guys to run the numbers, keep the numbers. If you're not doing that, then you have no clue. You're running blind. Imagine driving the car blind without the lights on, everything dark. How do you're going to crash and burn. People run their business in this way. They run their Primerica business that way, blindfolded. And then they get frustrated, Rob. They get frustrated about why they are where they are. And they try to look for an outside source or reason as to why they are where they are. It's clear, man. It's clear. You know, Shaq said a long time ago, I would never forget, he did a training and he comes in and he says to the group, because we had a podium back in the days on a platform, and he was, behind the podium, and he's talking. He said, imagine waking up in the morning and getting to the bathroom and trying to scare yourself in the mirror. That doesn't work too well, right? Now, what do I mean by that? This business is a mirror image of you. You can't hide it. You can't try to lie about. No, it's a mirror image of you. It'll give you back what you put in and what adjustments you're making. So go over with your trainer how many appointments you've been on, how many people you contacted, how many people you scheduled, right? All the numbers that are pertinent, and see what the results are from that. And then grow everything you can count. Grow everything you can count. So let's talk about what exactly does that mean? Bruce Clark said, he asked, what are you doing in business to grow it? What can you grow in your business? At the job, do you worry about that? Nope. Again, we just go there, get there on time, do the same thing that we did yesterday, and move on. There's no required growth at the job. You have to recondition how you think of that here. Right? Because growth in a business is simply a number. So when we talk about you can guarantee success in Primerica, that's the reason. Because it's a number. There is no Guinness Book of World Records that doesn't have a number attached to it. So what are your numbers? Right? How many appointments? We try to go around every way possible. Man, maybe I don't know. I don't have I cannot explain life insurance like Shaq can, or I cannot recruit like Shondell can, or I cannot do this like Shay. I don't have her flair. I don't have the gift of gab. I don't know as much as they do. We try to use every intangible to excuse our success or lack thereof. Well, let me help you. Doesn't matter. That's not the key here. Is this. What are the numbers that we're running? How many appointments have I been on? How many people are prospected? How many people did I speak to? How many appointments did I actually go on, right? The three-headed monster. Appointments scheduled, appointments you went on, and appointments you closed. Stop making excuses. The numbers don't care. You know what I've learned also doesn't care? You know who doesn't care? Your kids. They don't care, I promise you. Give them every reason you want. They don't care. You know who else doesn't care? Your spouse. Trust me on this one. Your spouse doesn't care either. Can we pay the bills? That's what they care about. Your parents don't care. They're going to need you one day, financially speaking. Are you going to be able to provide? And don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself over the head if you're not there. I'm not there. Don't beat yourself over the head with it. Be okay with it. As long as the reason I'm okay with it, guys, is because I am making the changes now. Slowly, getting better habits. Being honest with myself about it. Don't beat yourself over it. It's all, yesterday is gone. There's nothing you can do about it. Don't over exaggerate it. Now, what I used to do, I'm a positive person. So I would say, man, look, I got this. I'm going to be an RVP. I'm going to be $500,000 at the end of this year. I overestimate the future too. Right? None of that matters if today I'm not focused on my numbers. None of it matters. Are you winning the day? No more excuses, please. You can, give everybody every excuse you want. You keep giving it to yourself, that's the worst thing in the world. It's the worst thing in the world. The most detrimental thing you can do is give yourself excuses and reasons why you haven't done it. Instead of just saying, you know what, I haven't done it yet, I'm starting today. If you are in business and you don't know your numbers, you are not in business. This is from Bruce Clark. If you're in business and you don't know the numbers, you're not in business. One of my favorite shows is Shark Tank. And trust me, you get on there, the one common denominator, if you don't know your numbers, they don't even talk. They're not going to do any business with you. You better know your numbers because you can define success that way. That's why that's so critical. You can't steer a parked car. As it relates to this business, the way you ensure you're moving forward and you're going towards success is simply by understanding the numbers and running them. You guys have heard this constantly, right? Now, months 2 and 3. Here's a couple of things. Do better than the month before. That's it. Do better than the month before. I don't care if it's by one sale. I don't care if it's by one recruit. Maybe you get your license, bank in, get all the money you got banked in. Just do better than the month before. By the 3rd month, you should be close to being independent. And then the key is, now that you understand how to get to district leader, which is the building block of our business, then you can help others become district leaders. Couple things I want you to take. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but did you know showing up is optional? And I say that because we really can't control whether or not you show up. It is optional. Did you know that, Ian? Showing up is optional. You know why? Because so is success. That's why. You don't have to show up, just like you don't have to succeed. Right? You don't have to show up to work. If you don't want to make money. It's very simple. I don't think anybody has ever won here and not showed up. You have to show up if you want to win. Be careful. Be very careful. The further away you get, the further away you get. You like that, Ian? Guys, are you aware this is in every part of life? One thing I am very well aware is, Tanya and I, my wife, we get into those moments, and it happened recently, where and you feel it, right? It's almost like nothing really happened. It's just you kind of not talking, you're not seeing each other, you're stressed. It happened because she's an accountant, right? She does taxes as well. So this season is really crazy. And because of all the new laws and changes, it's just been nuts. And she's been stressed. I've been stressed. And of course, we have the kids at home with a 2-year-old and all this stuff. And we were getting further away from each other. Naturally. And it wasn't purposeful. It wasn't even something that we planned on, but it's almost like she gets home, like yesterday, she got home at 1:00 in the morning. I'm preparing and she comes in, I'm exhausted. I'm going to go upstairs to sleep. And it's almost like you pass each other because in your mind, you have so many other things that are taking over. And guess what? We both realized it and we said, we need to go have a getaway just for one day, a couple hours. It doesn't have to be that long because we understand the further away you get, the further away you get. It's not just in life, it's in business too. Understand that, guys. Please understand that. You can't, it's funny. When everybody starts, they're so excited, Wells. They're so excited about coming in here and just killing it, making money, helping families. But then they miss a training. Got a little further away. And then you show up to the next training, but the one after that's much easier to excuse. I have a vacation to go on. Oh, I had 3 appointments set up. They're all rescheduled. I'll do it next week. That's the textbook definition of you going further away. You have to have non-negotiables in your business per week. Non-negotiable numbers in your business per week. You have to. Because if you don't, it gets tougher. It gets tougher, and it's harder to get it back. Right? That's why it was so important for Tanya and I to realize it and capture that before it goes too far away. You can't let it go far. You can't. You are run by the dominant thought in your mind. See, what happens when you get further and further away, doubt creeps in, and that becomes the dominant thought in your mind. They go hand in hand. Can I do this? Is it, is it feasible? Or maybe what my friend told me is true. Or, I don't believe it's true, but, it's just tough, man. I have kids. I have to work. I got to make money now. The pandemic. I lost my job. I got to find another one. So I got to spend 40 hours a week looking for a job. I can't do this. All of those things come to mind. And that contributes to what? Because it's the dominant thought in your mind that contributes to you getting further away, which contributes to you being what? Much further away. And then you quit. That's what happens. Can't allow that to happen. You can't. Our business is simple. It really, really is. Yes, Charmaine, there's a lot of technical things you have to learn. Yes. And the more appointments you go on, the more you start learning about those technical things. Right? But when it comes down to the success, Sandra, that you can get here, it's really not as difficult as you think it is. And who else I forgot who I was telling this week on my team. I was saying to them, you got to take away the emotion out of it. A lot of us, Keenan, have an emotional attachment to doing it, to doing what we have to do. Well, you can't do that. You got to take it away. It's not about that. Because if emotion and how we responded to it created our success, most people would never be successful. You just won't. No one. Think about any highly successful people, man, whether it's in sports, in music, in business, in any endeavor. They had to, they had to sacrifice, man. They had to go through pain. It was never about, they loved doing what they had to do. No, nobody likes sweating and working out and their body aching. No, they like the result of having a nice looking body like I have. That's what they like. That's what my boo says, at least. Right? That doesn't just come from me eating. Well, it does, the body I have right now, right? But you get the point. It takes work. It takes work to get something better. Take the emotion out. The quicker you get at removing how you feel about it, the easier the path is towards success. I promise you. Look, here's one thing that I try to do for myself. I always try to create a relative example. See, I'd rather take the no's than telling my kids no. I'd rather work my butt off for the next 12 months, 7 days a week, than working 40 years 5 days a week. I anticipate, Tefan, people telling me no, people quitting. I anticipate that. I anticipate people just talking nonsense. Look, I wait for what people do, not what they say. What people do is what I care about, not what you tell me you're going to do. It's time, Tefan, to get back on the ball. To get back to running the numbers. And it's simple. Get a piece of paper, put 10 names and numbers on it that you know. Start with that. Then get creative. How else can I market myself? Guys, with the technology today, man, back in Ian's days, they didn't have, the internet. He didn't know what that was. Right? Oh, you guys, you grew up in that. Ian didn't know anything about that. Right? And what is it, 1950s, right? Ian, what did they have back then? They had the cord and the, right, back in your days? Guys, we are today, what Shaq and Samir have done to put us in a position as an organization over the next 5 years is going to be ridiculous. I mean, Shaq's vision of how we are going to capitalize on what has occurred over the last 12 months is ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. You guys understand a brand new person can come in and win here much faster, much quicker than the way we had to do. Because everything is just there, is in place. And you got some of the best people in our organization helping you learn it quicker. Back then, man, you had to write. My hands were hurting, everything, right? And because I knew if I didn't write it down, I wasn't going to remember it. And there was no way to go back to it. Now everything is put up for you, man. Now, I still take notes. That hasn't changed, because the best way to get everything in your mind is not to just hear it and hopefully you remember it. Is to hear it, write it, and actually say it quickly. That's how you maximize what you're picking up on, what you're learning. All right, so I want to open up for questions. Let me stop the recording.